Hey guys, Arius Comics here with Justice number 4. This was a very good issue. The only gripe I have with it is that it shows too many stuff happening at the same time and it doesn't really give the full impact. So in the next issue you're gonna see a lot of these things coming together, and I think the pacing would have worked better if you had fewer heroes attacked in this issue and then kind of move on to the next issue in a sense. So we have this amazing image here of a Superman with the sun in his back and his cape flowing, and he's really looking cool. Um, and then we have the villains, and the villains kind of show themselves to the whole world, and they kind of say they're here because the Justice League didn't do what they were supposed to do. They would just like fight, villains like themselves, but they didn't tackle the actual issues of the world, like, poverty, disease, stuff like that. I know what you're thinking. What can Lex Luthor, of all people, say to me? And it is true what I'm hearing. We are the world's ills and humanity's sickness being addressed and cured by known criminals and superpowered terrorists. This is being broadcast around the world, in every city, to every race, in every language. We know you are wondering where the Justice League of America is right now, and so are we. But we're also wondering why they've never tried to do what we've been doing, why they never attempted to use their powers and abilities to make this world a better place. And I believe their inaction is as criminal as those felonies went to prison for. So this argument that the villains are making here is a very pointed one, and it doesn't really, it doesn't have a really simple answer. You know, you cannot basically say, oh well, Batman doesn't use his will for this because he's off to being Batman and stopping supervillains. But then you can make the argument that the supervillains became supervillains and just like normal criminals because of the Batman, kind of like an arms race. Um, Preserving the world and not daring to change it means keeping food from the hungry, keeping the crippled in wheelchairs, bowing to the status quo of someone suffering, and still they call us the villains. And in a sense, Luthor is very humanist. He kind of hates all aliens, but really believes in the human race. And if you guys played Mass Effect, I think it'd be very good in like that universe, in like a humanity kind of first way. Um, but he goes on to say, "Let me begin right now by saying that we will not apologize for what we did in the past. We will not ask anyone to forgive our crimes. But someone had to stand up to the so-called standards of virtue." And then we see Bizarro, which is kind of like reverse Superman in the sense that he's this clone that Lex Luthor made of Superman, but he's like a botch clone, so he kind of has all the powers in reverse. Even his ass is in reverse, and so instead of he's laser, like having laser eye, he has like frost eye, like it kind of freezes you, and then his breath is fire instead of ice, and stuff like the opposite Superman in a way. Um, sure, the Justice League may save us from all the giant alien starfish in the middle of the ocean from time to time, but they save us only to send us back to our old lives, back to our bills, back to our useless jobs, back to our suffering. If they were really here, the heroes they claim to be, they'd save us from those same lives as well. So this kind of refers to, you know, yeah, they save you from the villains, but like you still have day-to-day issues. And what Lex Luthor's trying to do here is kind of make a human utopia, where there's no disease, there's no poverty. Everyone can do, like, everyone has kind of infinite money in a sense. Everyone can do whatever they want. So if you have a passion, you just like follow it. Um, Kind of like that. That's kind of his idea here. The monsters really to have allowed things to go on the way they have. What can Superman say to the starving? That things will get better if the poor work a little harder? Please, let it not be that. Let us not be chastised with bootstrap arguments. For those of us who are not American, as myself am not, the bootstrap argument is in American society, there's this idea that you pull yourself up by the bootstraps. So the bootstraps, you cut it down, and you have your one of your foot planted down, and you just like take them on and get up. But this used to mean the opposite thing. So it meant like, because if you actually try it physically, it's impossible to do so. Because it's impossible to do, the meaning had the same thing. Like if you're down, you're not gonna be able to get up by yourself. So it's like the idea was to like ask for help, ask, trust people, stuff like that. Kind of make a society where like someone who's downtrodden can help himself up with the help of other people. Like other people would be trustful enough and good enough and nice enough to help someone who's down. Let us not be rebuked by social naivete. And going back to the Bootstraps, it kind of became the opposite, of what it meant, because it got repeated so much, I guess, that the meaning lost. And it's usually Republicans who say that, because the left-leaning Democrats, they argue for like, more social safety nets and social programs. And they go, well, I pull myself by the bootstraps, nobody helped me, so it's possible to do so. But that argument is, way too big for commenting on the issue of justice number 4. So just for those of you who are not American, I was just trying to explain that. And here we see Bizarro going through Superman's apartment and fighting him. So Bizarro knows who Superman is, and then we see this little kid here with like a Superman hat, which looks very cool. The hat looks very cool. I'd buy that hat. The blue, I like the blue on it, see? And here's the very, very cool image. It's Bizarro lifting Clark Kent up, and then his shirt is broken and reveals a Superman costume. And Lex Luthor continues, we're not going to apologize for what we've done. Someone has to stand up to this world's superpowers. Someone has to change the way this world works. That's what we're about to do. That's what we're inviting you to be a part of. And it's pretty much, these giant supervillains kind of everyone in the world, and everyone sees them. And now we move to Sinestro and Hal Jordan. So Hal Jordan is basically in his locker room. Sinestro finds him through a boom tube, and what he does is he boom tubes him in like middle of nowhere in space. So the all of the villains found out the real identities of the Justice League. Those who are tired of doing it themselves, those who are weary of the day-by-day struggle to live, these cities are for you. They are your reward, says Lex Luthor. So they have these giant ball cities where like everyone can go. We saw them, I think, in issue 2. John Jones finds them. Aquaman finds one, and then John Jones also finds it and goes inside it and see what actually happens inside. So we're now here with Scarecrow and Clayman. And they go to take on Oliver Queen and Black Canary, Laura Lance. These cities are a gift from those with power to those without. Mankind deserves this. Why else would any of us be given superpowers if it was not to become builders of the kind of world humanity always wished for? And let's be honest, the kind of world mankind is entitled to. And, you see sexy Laura Lance here, and she goes to the kitchen in a nightrobe, and kind of gets shot with the fear toxin, and this coffee beans transforms into something like gross bugs. It's all over them, and then Clayman kind of takes her place, but like for some reason Clayman goes blonde, because I don't think he kind of sees her here, but I think they went like a picture or something, like Googled how she looked. And probably the blonde image came up first, because she had a change of color. The reveal actually she wears a wig. The wig, it's going to be one of those kinds of nights. I'm going to need protection, and he gets some earplugs, and that's because this is kind of a dirty joke in a way. So the Black Canary Laura Lance, this blonde woman here, but also this woman here, she's actually a brunette, but she wears like this blonde wig to conceal her identity. And then this is Clayface, and then she has something called the Canary Cry, which is like this supersonic kind of a cry, shouting, and it's extremely powerful, and it kind of breaks your ears if you're too close, or she goes too hard. So the implication is they're gonna have sex, and she's gonna orgasm, and she's gonna scream. So he gets earplugs, and then she goes in for the kiss. He touches her, and then her face comes down, because one of the issues with Clayface is he can't really take his form for too long. Um, so both of them get jumped. Then we move back to the fight between Wonder Woman and Cheetah, and Cheetah is gonna reveal something very, very interesting. You're gonna see, but this is what I'm talking about. Just it feels like there's too many heroes getting jumped on at the same time, and I think it should have been more powerful if they would like split up into like this all all these fights split up in like two issues maybe. They lost their power, and now I'm not talking about magic genie rings or batarangs. I'm speaking about the real power. We don't need them anymore. And we're at a Midway Museum where we have these two people, which I'm not very familiar to. I think this is Hank Carter. I forgot her name, but they're Hawkman and Hawkgirl. If you watch the Justice League, you're probably familiar with Hawkgirl, Shira. And I'm not really sure what's happening with them because I know there's like two versions of them. So there's version of them with like kind of archaeologists and museum people, and they go to Egypt and kind of get these powers. So it's kind of like a bit of Shazam, only they don't have to like say Shazam. I don't know how they transform, but like they get this powers. And in a sense, their powers are mystical. And then the ones you see in the Justice League cartoons, they're basically these people from a planet whose name I'm blanking on, and they're basically like hawk people, and they're like that's how they are. So it's not like they transform from something to something else. That's just how they are. So they're like biological. So I'm not really sure how. I know there's problems in the DC universe with that, so I'm not really sure. But these versions are the ones that the Egyptian ones, and they get attacked by these toy airplanes, which is a good sign. That's the Toy Man. And this is the Toy Man. Look, he has a giant robot toy. And they get attacked with the tiny airplanes. And then we get back to Lex Luthor, who says, and after all of those whose afflictions who've cured have joined us in these new cities, our invitation would be to dreamers, those of you who have dreamed and longed for something you could never have made possible, something you're willing to let people like us do for you. So it's kind of like he's giving the invitation for people to live in the cities, and it's first like the very lowest of the society, the ones most affected, and then it kind of goes up. And here we see Ray Palmer getting sniped at, but for some reason, like the sniper would have a clear shot for like a headshot or any kind of shot, but like it kind of goes through his shoulder. I don't like that. Will you trust us? We are not here with masks and secret lives. We don't need those things to live alongside everyone else. And I think this is Black Manta. Speaking, yeah, it's him because he has like this little shell here, kind of a giveaway. And it's broadcasted to like, because this is supposed to be like one of those societies who's kind of not in contact with anyone, because this guy like throws a spear. Clearly he has no idea like holograms exist, so he probably thinks it's the gods or something. And then we see kind of continuing the fight between Bizarro and Superman. So Superman's kind of trying to fight Bizarro, kind of gets a bit of a grip on it, and then we see this guy. So this guy is Metallo. Metallo is this guy who's, depending on which version you went let me try it again. Depending on which version you go with, it's like a bit different, but like his main thing is this guy who's like suffering from a disease or something like that, and he has like a metal cyborg robot made for him, and kind of gets like his consciousness or brain transferred in there, and he's basically powered by kryptonite. And we also get Solomon Grande, which has this I don't know what you call it, like a small poem, I guess. Died on a Saturday, buried on a Sunday. And he gets one of Clark Kent's arms, so he can't swing. And then kind of Bizarro gets the other one, kind of hold him, kind of fist fight him a bit, both of them. And then there's also, you can see Parasite. This is a very, very cool panel, like through his broken glasses, or like actually like half a glass, like glass, half of his glasses. It's the lens is broken, but you can see, the parasite right here. This is very very cool. I really like this fight. It seems very cool. So Parasite is this guy who got his powers in like a nuclear meltdown or something like that, like some factory meltdown, chemical spill. But the powers he got is he can absorb human energy, kind of vitality, but also metas, which is the name of in this universe. Metas are people with superpowers. He gets their powers by touching them, absorbs their abilities, and then they go find him. And Flash gets one of those. They have like alerts when someone's down, and Flash gets the alert, and he's racing himself, which is very weird, and we're gonna see explained later. And Parasite says, "I am the Man of Steel," so everyone's like kind of like fighting him. They say aren't we all? Because Pizarro is basically like reverse Superman. So Metallo is made of metal, and then Parasite had his powers, and we see Metallo and his kryptonite, which powers his being. Time to die. She says, "Metallo, where are you, Barry?" Then cut back to Lex. It is the combined failure of the Justice League of America not to have bettered your lives. It is their failure not to have made a difference in this world. Is it any wonder they have not come here to challenge us? So their plan was twofold. So they make this bold public statements, and they kind of get the lack of response from the Justice League as kind of their one of their main arguments. And then you also have them attacking the Justice League and winning just by brute force, not necessarily the strength of arguments. They can't show their faces anymore. Their own history of non-involvement condemns them. Their ambition for your lives were too small. I don't know how about you, but I want them to feel loss, real loss. I want their hearts to be cut out for the wounds they have inflicted on mankind by doing nothing. So we see here Cheetah finding Wonder Woman, the Hawk people. I forgot the name of Ray Palmer's girlfriend / wife. And then Laura lands here, seeing the arrow kind of shooken up. But the world does not revolve around them anymore. Perhaps they'll leave and never return, or maybe they'll just lie down and die. And we kind of have the Martian, we have Superman, we have Green Arrow lost in nothingness, and we have the Flash running on water. I, for one, am tired of holding my breath for things to change, continues Lex Luthor. And this ends with this very, very cool shot of Superman kind of surrounded by his enemies. You have Parasite in his back, you have Solomon Grundy, you have Bizarro on his sides, and then you have Metallo in front of him. He cries out, cry for help. And he actually has tears, and this is such a cool shot to end the issue on. Yeah, guys, so basically this was it. Hopefully you like this series, hopefully you like my videos. If you do, leave a like, leave a comment with any suggestions you might have, any criticism. I'll respond. I'll try to respond to everyone. If it gets like to in a huge number of comments, it's gonna be hard to respond to everyone. But well, this channel is kind of like small to like almost non-existent. I'll respond to people. I'll take, even if I don't respond to you, I'll take any criticism you give out and try to change things to make it more to your liking. Also, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for listening this. Have a good day. Bye.